Are you learning how to play jazz piano, but you're not sure the best tunes that you should be practicing to become a well-rounded musician? Well, this is a common struggle for jazz pianists, and it makes sense because there are literally hundreds of jazz tunes, and it's not very practical to practice all of them. So what are the most important jazz tunes that you should be practicing each day so that you'll become a well-rounded jazz musician? Well, I'm going to answer that in today's lesson. Now, before we get started, I wanted to mention that right now we're offering the biggest special that we offer all year long on the Piano with Jonny membership, up to 50% off for a limited time. So if you want to take advantage of that, click the link below and let's go ahead and dive into the lesson. Alright, so there are basically 5 criteria that I use to select these top 10 tunes, and you can also use these criteria to select your own top 10 tunes. So the 5 things to consider first is that whatever tunes you're practicing have a variety of chord progressions. For example, you would not want to practice only tunes that use the turnaround chord progression, and this is probably one of the most common progressions. So, tunes like Blue Moon, right? Cheek to Cheek, right? All great tunes, but they all use the turnaround chord progression. So we're going to talk about some different progressions that you should be practicing. The second thing to consider is make sure you're practicing tunes that explore a variety of keys. For example, you would not want to practice only tunes that are in the key of F, right? You want to be practicing the key of E flat, B flat, G, and especially common jazz keys. So we'll talk about that as well. The third thing to consider is you want to be playing tunes that explore a variety of styles. So you want to be playing tunes in the swing style, the bossa nova style, the jazz ballad style, the blues style. So really want to make sure you get variety. Fourth, it's ideal to play tunes that you actually enjoy playing. And sometimes there are jazz standards that I don't really enjoy playing. So don't play those tunes. Play tunes that you actually like. And then the fifth criteria is that it's very nice to play tunes that other people will recognize. That way, if you're playing a professional jazz gig, people will actually know the tunes that you're playing and they might sing along, and maybe you'll even get a tip if you play a tune that people enjoy. Alright, so we're going to talk about my top 10 tunes, and by the way, this was really hard to come up with only 10 tunes, but I think these tunes really encompass these 5 elements for me, and hopefully they will for you as well. But before I show you the tunes, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Alright, the first tune is, drumroll, Autumn Leaves. And Autumn Leaves is probably one of the most popular jazz tunes. It goes like this. Really beautiful melody. And the reason I selected this tune is because it follows the cycle of fifths chord progression. This is a very important chord progression that you should know. It's also used on Fly Me to the Moon. It's used on All the Things You Are. And so these other tunes are actually substitute tunes that you could play instead of Autumn Leaves if you're practicing these top 10 jazz tunes. Also, something to consider, this tune is in the key of E minor, and then this is generally played in a swing style. That's the way I played it. Of course, you could play it in a bossa nova style. You could also play it in a jazz ballad style. So different ways you can play this tune. Now, if you want to do a deep dive on the cycle of fifths chord progression, you can in our Fly Me to the Moon courses. In these courses, you learn how to develop the lead sheet, how to walk bass lines, how to harmonize your melody, how to add fills, and how to even solo over this tune. So I'll put a link to those below. All right, song number 2 is a beautiful ballad called The Way You Look Tonight. Here's a little sample. this melody. And so the reason I selected this melody is for several reasons. One, I absolutely love this melody and many people love this tune, so it's a great tune to know if you are gigging as a musician. But furthermore, this tune uses one of the most common progressions in jazz called the turnaround chord progression. And the turnaround chord progression is used on lots of other tunes. Here's just a quick few examples. Cheek to cheek. I've got rhythm. A blue moon. And tons of other tunes. So it's a very important chord progression to know. Also, this tune, The Way You Look Tonight, goes through two different keys. It starts in the key of E flat, and then it goes to the key of G flat. So this is really nice because now you're exploring a lot of different flat keys. And by the way, most jazz tunes are written in flat keys, like the key of B flat, E flat, A flat, and F. So these are going to be the most important keys to explore if you want to play jazz piano. And then finally, this is generally played in the ballad style. Of course, you could play this in the swing style. You could play it in the bossa nova style. It's a beautiful tune. Now, if you want to learn how to play The Way You Look Tonight, you can in our course, The Way You Look at Me, which is inspired by this tune. And in this course, I show you how to develop the lead sheet into a beautiful arrangement, so I'll put a link to that below. All right, song number 3 is a very famous bossa nova tune that a lot of people enjoy listening to. It's called The Girl from Ipanema, and it goes like this. Really lovely tune, and again, one of the most requested tunes that I've gotten as a professional jazz musician. So the reason I selected this tune is for several reasons. One, it uses a very important chord progression called the tritone substitute chord progression, and this is a chord progression that you will use when you're playing jazz piano. It's part of the 2-5-1 chord progression, which is the most common chord progression in music. This is in the key of F, which is a very common key in jazz, and then for the style, this is the bossa nova style, which is a very common style in jazz piano. Now, if you want to learn some other tunes instead of The Girl from Ipanema, other tunes that use this tritone substitute idea are Green Dolphin Street, that right there was the tritone substitute chord progression, and Body and Soul. All right, song number 4 is what I call jazzy blues or bebop blues. This is a very famous tune called C Jam Blues. It goes like this. Absolutely love this sound, especially when I want to get that kind of jazzy blues sound. So the reason I selected this tune is, one, I love playing the tune. Many people who appreciate jazz know this tune, C Jam Blues, so you'll very likely get it requested if you're playing it for other people to listen to. But furthermore, it uses a very common progression in jazz, which I call the jazzy blues chord progression. It's kind of a more interesting way of playing a standard 12-bar blues. You're basically adding a few different chords. This particular tune is in the key of C major, which is a very common key in jazz, and then it's in the style of jazzy blues or bebop blues. Now, if you don't want to practice C Jam Blues and you want to try another jazzy blues tune, you could also try Billy's Bounce. Or you could try Route 66. by the way, you can do a deep dive on the jazzy blues style in our jazzy blues comping courses at the link below. All right, song number 5 is a classic blues, or what I call traditional blues. This is St. Louis Blues. Very old blues tune, and this tune follows the traditional 12-bar blues form. So you only need to know 3 chords for this type of blues. Now this tune is in the key of G major, which is a very common blues key, and the style is what I would call traditional blues or classic blues. And some other tunes that you could practice that are in this traditional 12-bar blues style are tunes like Blue Monk, you could also practice it on Herbie Hancock's Watermelon Man. And by the way, you can learn how to play St. Louis Blues in our St. Louis Blues courses. I'll put a link to those below. All right, song number 6 is a classic jazz tune written by George Gershwin. This is called Our Love Is Here to Stay. A beautiful melody, and this particular chord progression is called the extended turnaround chord progression. It's used on lots of different tunes like They Can't Take That Away From Me and Teach Me Tonight. So it's a very important chord progression to know. This particular tune, Our Love Is Here to Stay, is in the key of F, which is a very common jazz key. Remember, most jazz tunes are written in flat keys. And then this is traditionally played in the swing style, but of course you could also play it in a bossa nova style. Or you could do it in a jazz ballad style. And by the way, you can learn more about this chord progression in our extended turnaround improv courses at the link below. All right, song number 7 is a classic big band tune. It's in a minor key and it is called Blue Skies. It goes like this. Really fun melody. So this particular melody uses a chord progression that I call the sentimental chord progression. Basically, it's a chord progression when you're in a minor key and you're kind of walking down here in the bass with a minor chord in the top. It's used on lots and lots of different tunes. In fact, you could also practice this chord progression on My Funny Valentine and It Don't Mean a Thing. Okay, really important chord progression to know. All right, so Blue Skies, very popular tune. Lots of people will recognize it. It's a lot of fun to play. This is traditionally played in the key of C minor. And by the way, you could change the key on all of these tunes, so it's not like you always have to play them in one key. And then this is also traditionally played in the swing style as well. And if you want to do a deep dive on this chord progression, check out our sentimental progression courses at the link below. All right, song number 8 is a beautiful jazz swing tune called Beautiful Love. This is also in a minor key and it goes like this. Gorgeous melody. And so this uses a chord progression called the minor turnaround chord progression, and it's used in lots and lots of different jazz standards. For example, you could also practice a tune like Lullaby of Birdland. Right? Same exact chord progression. Also Softly as in a Morning Sunrise. really important chord progression to know. The tune Beautiful Love is traditionally played in the key of D minor, which is a pretty common key for minor tunes, and then it's traditionally played in the jazz swing style, but of course you could play it in a bossa nova style. Or you could play it in a jazz ballad style. Alright, song number 9 is one of my all-time favorite jazz ballads. This is Misty, and it goes like this. Isn't that a gorgeous melody? And this particular chord progression I actually call the Misty progression because it's such a unique chord progression and it's used on lots of different tunes. For example, you could practice this chord progression on The Nearness of You. Right, same exact chord progression. This progression is actually also used on Ode to Joy. That was Ode to Joy in kind of a bossa nova style, so you could practice this chord progression on other tunes. Now going back to Misty, this tune is in the key of E flat. By the way, E flat is a very common key for jazz standards. And then of course it's in the jazz ballad style, but you could play Misty in the bossa nova style. Or you could do it in the swing style. Alright, our final tune uses a very cool chord progression called the chromatic walk-up progression. This is a chord progression that was really famous in older jazz tunes. So this tune is called Ain't Misbehavin', and it sounds like this. It was actually used in a lot of stride tunes. This particular tune was actually written by Fats Waller, who was a very famous stride pianist. So if you want to play some other tunes that use the chromatic walk-up progression, some well-known tunes are Makin' Whoopee, okay, really nice tune, and It's Only a Paper Moon. If you want to learn more about the chromatic walk-up progression, check out our play lead sheets with 7th chords course at the link below. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the lesson, be sure to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels, where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.